I'm very full and very sleepy. I think this is the latest we've done a recording actually.
Yeah.
Because it's nearly midnight. It's like 8:50 p.m.
Yeah,
it's almost midnight.
It's almost our bedtime.
It's almost our bedtime.
Yeah.
What exciting lives
Exactly.
we lead.
Yeah.
And I've got a belly full. We both got a belly full of gnocchi.
Gnocchi, amazing.
With sauce.
Gnocchi with this Amacania something.
Close enough.
Sauce.
Some sauce like that. I should know how to say it, but I don't.
Yeah.
And one of us.
Because you're like Italian descendant, right?
That's true. I'm shaming my ancestors right now.
Yeah, you are.
And
Your Mimo is going to be very upset.
Oh. I don't know if I want to edit that out or not. Hey, this is Matt.
And this is Yuna.
And this is Our Three Things, a podcast where myself and Yuna talk about joyful things for the week.
Yeah.
And we're coming back after a bye week last week, a rest week.
Yeah, so it's our first episode in 14 days.
In 14 days.
Yeah. It's
Yes.
a long time.
Yes.
We miss you guys.
I miss you too.
Thank you. I miss you too.
We're back now and we're still in the middle of a lockdown. Yay.
And in a more strict lockdown.
A more strict lockdown,
Yeah.
which doesn't really mean much for us because we've been just at home all the time anyway.
Yeah.
But still. So, man, 2 weeks and not doing a podcast makes me forget how to do it.
I know. You're very rusty nowadays.
I'm very rusty nowadays. It's okay. We have some joyful things. Some of them are going to feel out of date, I think.
Yeah.
In our last episode, we talked a lot about the Olympics. And there's a little bit of that, kind of our personal closing ceremonies on the Olympics.
Yeah.
Why don't we go ahead and dive in?
And I don't feel it's like personal closing ceremony. And you have to know there is Paralympic coming soon.
That's true.
So this will be a good warm up, you know?
That's true. The
Double
Olympics
the
are
joy.
just the warm up to the Paralympics, I
Yes.
think. Yeah. Cool. Well, let's jump in.
Yeah. So, Matt, what's your first thing?
Oh, yeah, I'm going first. I think we might, maybe this is a spoiler, but just looking at the list here, I think we actually have kind of a similar first things.
Yeah.
Do you want to just tackle them in parallel?
Yeah.
Would that be good?
Yeah, that'd
So
be
I
good.
think what we could maybe do is, because we both have the Olympics as a whole, just the closing of them as our first thing.
Yeah.
So what I think what maybe
this
a fun
is first thing of Matt and Yuna together.
Matt and Yuna together. Maybe one way we could do this is because these were actually pretty memorable Olympics for a lot of reasons. What do you say? Maybe we do our top 3 things of what we like, personal things that we think just from the Olympics themselves, like our top moments, just like spring to mind, like without overthinking it too much.
Without overthinking about it. I'm so glad we're number 2 in the total number of gold in the medal.
Oh, hey, wait, are you starting?
Yes, I'm starting.
Okay, so Yuna's going first apparently. All right, okay. Take it away.
So number 1.
What's your number 1 of your number 1?
So my number 1 of my number 1 is I'm glad to see China's performance in the medal. So we have the second most gold medal.
Yeah.
During this.
You guys were
Olympics.
actually up on top for a while, I think.
Yeah. I think so. Yeah.
Up until like a lot of the athletics.
Up until the last day, the U.S. has a couple golds in some of the competitions.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then like some of the team sports.
Yeah.
Which this is not any of our things, but at least for me. But the U.S. got like gold in like what, volleyball, basketball.
Yeah, pretty much all the major sports.
Yeah, and they kept knocking, especially in basketball. I think both teams knocked out the poor Australian teams.
I know.
Oh, it's embarrassing.
Yeah.
Yeah, and in football as well, women's soccer.
Yeah.
That was a painful game to watch.
Yeah, it is. It is.
Yeah. But seeing China get the golds, get second in golds, and I think second in overall count probably.
Yeah,
as well.
second in overall count as well. Yeah. So I'm pretty happy as Chinese.
Yeah.
Because it's exciting, like for you to see like your country, home country, like in so many different competitions and to get a goal. It's pretty exciting.
Yeah, for sure.
For the entire 2 weeks.
Cool. Yeah.
So how about you? How about your number one of number one?
So my number one, and mine are in no particular order because it's impossible to rank.
Okay.
But my first one I can think of that's one of my most memorable from this Olympics was the men's high jumping final.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So for those who maybe didn't watch this, because it is sort of like a niche sport, and I'm not going to pretend that I watch it outside of the Olympics, but I think a lot of people saw this happen. There was actually a shared gold. So these two athletes, let me try to get the names here. So Gianmarco Tamberi from Italy, I'm probably butchering these names, and then Mutaz Barshim of Qatar. I never know how to pronounce that. But they were in the high jump final, so the one where they just like jump without a pole or anything over the bar and see who can go the highest. These two guys were deadlocked for first place. They were getting all the same jumping heights.
Yeah.
And they had the same number of fails, same number of passes, and they just kept going like toe to toe. They finally got up to, I want to say, like 2 meters, 39 centimeters, and both of them just kept missing it over and over again. And I think they have like 3 times where they can make it to see if they can achieve it, and then they move on to the next one, and they both missed it 3 times. And basically in that situation, like the official rules is like you can go to like what they call like a jump off. Yeah. Which is just the two competitors who are tied for first place just keep jumping at like the same heights again, basically, until one of them misses, or one of them gets it, I guess. And you know, they'd already been jumping at that point for like I think like hours. Like it was a very long final.
Yeah.
But there's something in the rules that allows you to just
keep
just share. Do that or just share the gold. Yeah. And the athletes asked that, like they when the referee was or the official was explaining that, and literally like it took them like half a second to just say, we'll share the gold.
Yeah.
And apparently like the two are close friends, and if you watch it live, it was very like heartwarming to see, because they just were so happy about it.
It's the Italian guy jumped on.
Oh, he was so
he was so joyful,
dramatic and joyful,
crying. And he's a character, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
All those high jump folks are, because like they're all these like ridiculously tall and really thin. Yeah. I mean, they look like they're made for this sport, and right?
That reminds me of the is the Australian girl also high jump? The silver one? Yeah. So that there was also an Australian girl for the women's high jump. Women's high jump. She's so sweet, and because she's keep chanting and smiling the entire time, and I forgot her name, but she's joyful to watch.
So that's so that was Nicola McDermott.
Oh, Nicola McDermott, so sweet.
She does this thing in the high jump. She would do this thing where every time, and I think she ended up getting bronze or silver.
I think silver. Silver. Yeah.
But every time she would finish a jump, she would immediately like open this journal and like start writing in it, and like the newscasters were trying to like guess what was in it. But she was just like a ritual she would do, and then every time before she ran up to a jump, I think she's very religious as well. So she would like just raise her hands to the sky and just like kind of chant to herself, and then just like get the crowd clapping, and then just like scream, and then like go and do the jump. And she had the biggest like smile on her face the whole time. Yeah, really adorable. Cute. Yeah. Anyway, the whole high jump, like that's not anything that I would think would be that entertaining, but it really got me this year.
And there's really really good looking guy in the high jump
in the Olympics, you say?
In Olympics, yes, in the Olympics.
Well,
very attractive. I forgot his name.
Which country?
I forgot his country as well, but I follow him on Instagram.
Fascinating.
Oh, it's Mondu something.
You're talking about the pole vaulter, the pole vaulter.
Oh, pole vaulter, yes, he's really attractive.
Yeah. Armand Duplantis or something like that.
He probably is the most attractive athletes on the athletics.
In the athletics?
Yeah, I believe so.
Anyway, so that's my number one. I think a lot of those, this funny thing with those athletics is like a lot of them, because a lot of them outside of like the track, like the kind of the ones most people know about, like the jumping and the pole vaulting and stuff, that's a very like niche sport, and it feels like everyone who competes at a high level, they're all like best friends with each other, is what it seems like. Yeah. So it's just fun to watch that. But anyway, that's my first one. Yeah. What's your second Olympics?
My second Olympics is the last day of the artistic gymnastic for the girls.
Oh, the one where they do the routine with the music, right?
Not the routine with the music. It's the beam. It's the beam. Yeah.
Oh, the ones on the different apparatus.
Yeah. On the beam. Yeah. So that's the one Simone Biles attended.
Oh, right.
The one. Simone Biles is not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about it's after the 14-year-old Chinese athletes Guan Chengchen.
The 14-year-old girl.
When she finished her routine, she, of course, that's so well, right, in her age, and performed perfectly for her routine. When she calmed down, she starts hugging with her teammate. And also, the other athletes, including Simone Biles and also Sunny, and all the other athletes from different teams, they're just so happy for her, and everyone just hugs each other. And that makes me feel like the sports has no country, no border, and everyone's just so happy about each other's achievement.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter you're from US, I'm from China, but we're all athletes compete in this field, and we're truly happy for what you have achieved. So you can see those photos on the internet, on Twitter, right? And it's so sweet for me to see that. I feel that's just a sweet moment.
Yeah, that was
reminds me what Olympics is for.
Yeah, absolutely. That was cute.
Yeah. So that's my second thing.
Cool. Your second of your first.
Second of first. My second Olympic of my first.
We're really drawing this out quite a bit, but that's okay. My second thing, I'll keep this short, is so there was I think this is the first time this sport has been in the Summer Olympics, is the BMX freestyle. So like it's the bicycling where they do all the jumps and the flips and stuff, kind of that extreme sports. And I was not expecting this at all. Maybe I just don't keep up with it. But apparently the Australian guy, he actually got gold. This guy, Logan Martin. And so my second thing on this is just like watching him do these tricks. Yeah. And apparently, I mean, his whole run was like ridiculously smooth. Like all the things, I don't know what the names of the moves are. He just looked really cool because he did so many different flips. And then when he finished, once it was confirmed he was going to win, he was going to get gold after everybody went. He apparently said in an interview with the press out there that the moves that he did, he actually wasn't doing his like full routine. It was a pretty standard one. And so he said, well, since I already won, I'm going to go and just like bust out what like I was kind of hiding in my pocket, like my secret weapon. And he goes out there and does like something even crazier and nails it perfectly after he'd already won. Yeah. And it was just such a cool like move to do. Yeah. That like you just say, oh, I won gold, just sort of playing it safe. And you know, it just shows how much talent there is with those guys. I really like those extreme kind of sports like skateboarding and the BMX, and because they're very like, I feel like there's some people have pushed back against that in the Olympics because it's not a traditional, quote unquote sport. Yeah. It's not like weightlifting or running or wrestling or something, but it shows a whole different kind of skill set. Yeah. It kind of blends the old and the new into one.
Makes more interesting.
And watching my resident country take the gold in the first year that was up was pretty cool. So that was fun to watch.
That's pretty exciting.
Yeah. And also with like the skateboarding, I'm just gonna squeeze this in here too. The freestyle, the freestyle skateboarding. I think it's freestyle skateboarding is what it's called. Pretty much every one of those contestants, at least the ones that are in the top,
they're so young.
They're
right?
like
a teenager.
Some of them even younger. Like I think there was like a 12-year-old. From Japan who got silver or gold in the women's. I mean, it's women's, but it's really like girls. Yeah. Because they're these like little kids just out there having fun, and they show such good sportsmanship, and they kind of set an example for the adults.
Lots of training, you can't.
Oh yeah, 100%. No, I'm not discounting the skill. I'm just saying, it's so cool to see that because they embody like the sportsmanship and the Olympic spirit that we talked about in our last episode. And for being so young, that's just very impressive. So yeah. So that's my second thing. I like those extreme
sports.
Second
of your first.
It's the second of my first.
Yeah.
What is the third of your first, Yuna?
So since you have squeezed so many into a second, I'm going to squeeze a couple into
All right, go ahead. As long as they have to be somewhat related, at least.
Third of my first.
Okay.
So I would say I'm really enjoying the convenience of technology this year for watching Olympics.
Oh yeah.
Because I don't remember last time, but I remember this time it's so convenient. You can have all different sort of sports you want to watch in the app and on different websites.
And shout out to Channel 7, so the 7 Plus app.
Yeah, and like you can literally have 3 screens with 3 different sports going on. It's just really convenient and fun and make the full 2 weeks experience full.
Now one thing about that though, before you move on. That's apparently dependent on country, because I know a lot of people, at least in the US, who did not have that luxury, and they have to pay for that.
Oh.
Yeah.
We have the luxury in Australia as well as in China. I think they're free to air. Yeah.
Because all I saw online was a lot of complaints about, I think it was NBC, it was like the official error in the US. And apparently they were like terrible about ad placement and things like that and selection.
Right.
So that's, which surprised me, honestly, because I would assume that US would be on top of that. But I was really impressed with Australia's choice with Channel 7.
Good. It's pretty
really
good.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and also I'm really happy to see Paris 8 Minutes in the closing ceremony.
Oh, yeah, like the preview, right?
Yeah, the preview. That reminds me how pretty Paris as a city.
Oh, okay.
And I'm so looking forward to see the Olympics over there. And I hope like it gives me some hope, saying it's only in 3 years' time. Maybe until then, we will back to a new normal. And maybe there's a possibility I can be there to watch the Olympics in person.
Yeah.
In a beautiful city I love. Yeah. So that's my last thing of my first thing about Olympics.
My last thing is sort of related to that for the Olympics, and this is just sort of maybe symbolic of our closeout, because we've talked about the Olympics I think 3 episodes in a row now.
I know.
But we really loved it this year. I guess my third thing, just kind of wrap it up, is the fact that they could even happen.
Yeah.
And I guess just like shout out to everyone in Japan. Not even just Tokyo, because there was in multiple cities where stuff was being done.
Yeah.
I think that everyone responsible for that, for putting it on, despite all the I'm sure there were so many challenges and like decisions that were, a lot of people were wondering, was this the right thing to do? Like, should we even have this? But like personally, I feel like it was needed.
Yeah, it was needed to lift your spirit and to
lift the whole world's spirit.
Yeah.
And just the fact that it seemed to go, I mean, from what we could tell with the broadcast, it seemed to go off without a hitch. Like the only thing that was weird about it from a viewer perspective was just like the empty stands.
Yeah.
But even that, like they had the technology and they had like some good DJs in there to like pump in the crowd noise when it made sense and have music and stuff like that. So it was still like, that was the only thing that was weird, was like not seeing people in the stands. But apart from that, I mean, it seemed pretty perfectly put on.
Yeah, I agree. And I feel like we all need that to happen in this special period. And I'm glad it happened.
Yeah.
And I'm glad the next one is not too far away.
Yeah. And the Winter Olympics are in...
Oh, when the Olympics in Beijing.
Like 6 months or something?
Yes.
very,
I'm
very,
very
very
excited
soon.
for that. Yeah.
So we'll carry on Olympics discussion in that time.
Yes.
Because Winter Olympics are fun. Yeah.
I know. Maybe we can visit if everything's over.
Yeah, cross your fingers on that. Yeah. All right, and there is our final transition away from the 2021 in brackets Olympics discussion. Yeah.
So let's move on to the next one.
So my second thing this week is something very simple. This is something that I was gonna talk about a couple weeks ago, and other things came in, but I feel like this is a good time to mention it. So with the ongoing lockdowns in New South Wales, we've been, I don't know if it's just because of this, but I guess because it's more often, since we've worked from home more often, is we've had a lot more meals cooked at home. Freshly cooked. Some freshly cooked, fresh ingredients, healthy ingredients. And I think we've had some go-to recipes now. Yeah. And one of them, I think we had this like 3 times this past week, maybe. Is we've been doing these wraps, these like Vietnamese style wraps.
Vietnamese fresh spring roll.
Like fresh spring roll, sort of.
Rice paper.
Yeah. So we get like this rice paper, which they're actually pretty cheap. I think it's like a 30 pack of them for like just a few bucks, really.
Yeah. It's like, I think it's like $4 for 30 sheets.
Yeah, and so they're these like kind of circular like dry sheets, and all you do is just dip them in warm water, and then they become like those kind of classic spring rolls that you might get at like a Vietnamese or Chinese restaurant. Yeah, the fresh one, not the deep fried one. The fresh one, yeah. So not like the deep fried. I guess sometimes people, they'll see them on the menu depending on where you're at as like a summer roll or something. Yeah, it's like a summer roll. Yeah, that might be a better description. It's like summer roll, like they're kind of like a gelatinous, some like kind of like stretchy like rice paper, not the fried ones.
No, the stretchy rice paper, very soft service.
And what's great about them is you can literally just fill them with anything you want, right? And so like we've gone through, we actually went through a few different iterations of this.
So and we found the best combination.
We found the best one that literally like I'd make up I prep the same spread every time. So we do, let's see if we can list them off. So we do
spinach.
Some spinach, just like fresh spinach leaves. It's sort of like a base. And then some avocado sliced.
No, spinach, and then you the second one layer is
hold on. No, hang on.
You do avocado after spinach?
I do avocado first.
Oh, we're different. Okay.
Drama.
Yeah.
I need to find like a drama sound effect to like put in here, like So okay. How about I just list the ingredients?
Okay.
The order not important.
No, order is not important. No.
The order is important.
The first one has to be spinach because that would be the base.
That's the base. That's the bed. That's like the little
to make a base rack.
The little air mattress where they all sleep. Personally, now my mattress topper of my little bed is the avocado slices.
Yeah. Okay. That's why your roll is so big and hard to roll.
Excuse me. This is becoming like a call out show now. The third ingredient is, I think usually after that I will put mushroom. So we do sliced mushrooms.
What? Okay, it's very different from the way I put it.
Sometimes I might switch the mushroom and avocado actually.
No wonder my roll is more neat.
Listen, the fourth ingredient is, so we do some scrambled egg and then like kind of crack it into, it's kind of like an omelet but without folding it. So like maybe like a flat frittata.
Like an egg pancake.
And
just with egg.
And basically like it's just like scrambled egg in like a pancake shape.
Yes.
And we cut those into strips.
Yeah.
And so I'll put some of those on top of that. Yuna's judging me so hard right now.
Yeah.
What are we on? The fifth ingredient is I'll do some cook up some prawns.
Yeah.
So like little shrimps.
Your prawns the third last.
What do you mean?
Keep on going. It's very different order.
You've seen me make these so many times.
No, I didn't. I was too focused on my own wrap.
Very self-centered on your own wraps.
Yeah.
So we'll put a few prawns kind of like neatly laid on the side there, and then on the last thing that and this is the last thing you do too, is the bean sprout. So we do like some cooked bean sprout.
That's not my last thing.
Really?
Yeah. My last thing is the sweet Chinese kimchi.
Oh, okay. And then there's also like some like pickled cabbage.
Yeah.
That we put on top. That is okay. That's fair. That's the last thing. But that's more like just like a few on top.
Oh, and I put a lot.
Okay, and then I didn't think this would be such a contentious topic. I was ready to just kind of like breeze through this in like a minute and a half. Yeah. But this is becoming like a very like contentious, heated debate.
No, because you have to put the right layer.
All right. Okay.
Each time, so you will roll a perfect round shaped like.
I think you can still make it a round shaped even with a different stack order.
No, yours is too messy.
Okay, all right. So this was my thing, but I'm going to transfer it over temporarily to Yuna. I want you to tell me the correct order to get the best output here.
The best output. Are you sure?
Tell me.
Okay, so I think the first layer is your spinach, right? That's your base. Matt is giving this crazy face. And then after that, I would put 3 prawns as the second base.
You only put prawns second?
Yeah, and then I will put the sliced mushroom on top of the prawn and in between the prawn to make the roll full, right? So you have more stable base. And after that...
What do you mean in between the prawn?
So
like vertical?
No, vertical, like flat, just like this.
Okay.
And then I would start putting the the egg pancake strip. I would put the strip on the side of the spinach.
So you kind of have like a wall to make sure all the ingredients doesn't fall. And then I would start putting the
bean sprout on the top. And after that...
On top of the egg, after that I would put the avocado again on the side of the roll, on top of the egg. So you make the structure more stable. And in the end, I will put the pickle on top of the pea sprout. And then start rolling. So if you put in this way, the structure will be more stable. It's easier for you to fold like a long, round, vertical wrap.
So that's the way how I do it.
I think we need like a blueprint drawing of this.
Yeah, maybe we should attach a picture. Yeah, a diagram. That's a good idea.
Can you make a diagram for us?
No, you're the technical guy. You should do that.
I'm going to do it my way if you make me do it.
Fine. if you do with Matt way, if it's not perfectly shaped, come to Matt.
It all goes to the same place.
Yes.
I do like making fresh food though. That is nice because it makes you feel like it's not that hard to make. And the ingredients are all pretty cheap. Like if we were to buy like the equivalent of what we're making to make these wraps like at a restaurant.
Yeah.
I mean, it'd be easily like 5 times the price of.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's like an interactive meal as well because you kind of make it while you're eating. So
yeah, and it's very easy to prep, and it's fresh, and it's so healthy. All the ingredients, and you can switch and change stuff you want to put inside, which is really good. The only unhealthy bits in that wrap is the wrap itself because it's carbs made with rice, and probably the sauce, and that's it. Overall, it's very healthy. And if you haven't tried, maybe you can try making yourself with your partner or with your kids. It's gonna be pretty fun.
So that's my second thing for the week. Yuna, what is your number 2?
My number 2 is very simple. It's called Rest and Restart. And the reason I put this is because we do have a rest last weekend. And sometimes it feels strange because we constantly doing this almost every week, right? For like more than a month. And if you suddenly stop, it feels weird and you really want to do that. But sometimes you do need a rest and just to replenish and just to try to relax and to have a great start next week. So I think the point I'm making, it's important to have a rest and then restart things. This can be applied in doing podcast and doing your exercise routine.
Yeah.
When you do your studies, I just find like sometimes people just forget how important to have a good rest.
Yeah, to avoid that burnout. Yeah,
to avoid the burnout.
This is very true, especially for running.
Yeah.
Which I think I've talked about a bit before, but that's one of my big hobbies. But I've definitely gotten burned out a lot just because I don't know when to take a rest sometimes with that.
Yeah.
Or like studying, even like learning language or learning pretty much anything.
I think sometimes like you feel like you're just in the moment and you don't want to stop, and you feel like guilty to have to rest for one day or one week. But I feel like it's important to recognize sometimes your body needs to rest, your mind needs to rest before you can restart fresh, right? Everyone needs to recharge.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I think your mind is just like, it's not like a muscle in that way where if you work it really hard through a lot of study or anything like that, I mean, it can get sore and it can get like burned out and injured, just like physically you could, you know. So it's good to take those rest breaks sometimes. Yeah.
And also, like another thing reminds me is I used to work the 11 a.m. updates of the New South Wales Health for all these COVID
the daily press conferences.
Stats. But I think I'm not sure about everyone, but for me, like probably and Matt as well, right? You can jump in. It's the more you watch this, it gives you a lot of stress and anxiety towards this situation.
Yeah.
So there's like, I think last week for 2 days, I decided, okay, I'm going to take a break, not to watching the entire thing. And instantly I feel I'm more refreshed. And when I rewatched the updates today, I feel in a more normal mindset. So I think it's important.
Yeah, I used to watch those every morning because they basically do 7 days a week nowadays during the lockdowns in Sydney, where the premier will just get up and kind of talk about what's going on with the cases and all that. And but yeah, I think I used to watch those pretty much every day, but I've stopped doing that this past week because it's just kind of depressing. I can look up the numbers if I really want to see the number of new cases or anything like that. But yeah, I think it kind of goes with the theme of rest and restart, where like I just want to like, I'm not gaining anything from listening to that. And if I step away for a bit and don't listen for a while, then I can still stay informed, like with the data if I really want to, but like I feel like I'm taking a break from like that extra anxiety and stress. So
sometimes it's just okay to do so.
Yeah, exactly.
So that's my second thing. And Matt, what's your last thing?
So my last thing is we've talked a little bit about quirks about our dog Mocha. This one, Mocha. Yes, exactly. So our little brat who was interrupting us earlier.
Yeah.
So the thing that I wanted to talk about today is actually something kind of really sweet and nice about him.
Uh-huh.
And that is when he looks into your eyes.
Yeah.
That's my third thing. And
I love that.
I was thinking about this because I think every dog I've had does this where they'll just sort of stare at you. And I always kind of wondered what it meant.
So what it meant?
Well,
we're
gonna no. That was a downer. No.
Oh, okay.
No, what we're gonna do is actually move over to a corner that we haven't been to in a while, and that is the science corner.
Yes.
So moving over to the science corner. That's
like
the theme
the
song.
P-mail?
Yeah, I think last time we were there was for the P-mail.
Yeah.
There's still a little bit of P in the science corner, so step around that while we head there.
Yeah.
So I looked up about this because I was curious about why dogs stare and look into my eyes. Luckily, I found an article on pethelpful.com with the title, "Why Does My Dog Stare and Look Into My Eyes?"
Yeah.
So
why?
They read my mind. So there's a few things I want to call out in this article. So there's a couple quotes here that I think they pretty much say better than I could. So there's an animal behaviorist, Alexandra Horowitz, pointed out the difference between the gazes of dogs and those of other species in her book. Then there's a book name. I'm not going to pitch her book for you. She believes that dogs look at us for three main reasons. So our ability to give food. So because they look at us, they know that we are the ones who give them the food. This is something that Mocha does to me about 3 times a day.
No, Mocha does that to you 24/7.
Well, okay, fair enough. But there are sometimes he knows he's going to get food and he looks at me until he gets it.
Until you get the food, yes.
And that's breakfast time, dinner time, and then his midday snack time.
Yeah.
They actually look at us also, besides just that, for clues about our emotional state. So this I found interesting because this is something that humans also do. You know, like if you look at someone's eyes when you're talking to them, that's like one of the key things about body language, right? If their eyes are like narrowed or wide open or moving a lot or blinking a lot, like it's not something we think about, but you can look at a person and think those things and kind of like get clues about their state. Dogs do the same thing apparently, which I think is kind of cool.
So they can read our eye emotion?
Yeah. So like, you know how like, I think you asked me before, you know, does Mocha know if we're sad, for example? And they do know. And that's, I think, one of the reasons that they do is because they can see.
I'm crying.
Yeah. If you're crying or your eyes are red or if like they're, you know, like narrowed down or something, or, you know, the little cues like that, they can actually look and figure out what's going on. And then a third reason was information about what is happening in their world. So
what's that mean?
The way that I interpret this is basically they can look at us as like a cue to see how we're reacting to something else. So like, for example, maybe like we see another animal. Like if I'm walking Mocha and I see like a cat walking by, and if I'm like staring at the cat really intently and he looks at me and sees that, that might affect like what his thoughts are about like what's going on around us. I'm just kind of I don't know. I'm not a dog scientist or anything like that. This is just something I'm sort of guessing. Maybe I should check out Alexandra Horowitz's book that she mentions here.
The last bit I feel is a bit confusing.
It's a little confusing, but I think basically what they do is because humans, if it's your dog, you know, you're the leader of them, and so they're going to look to you for the cue of how to react to other things, and so they look at your eyes for that reason.
I think Mocha looks at your eyes more for cue.
Yeah, and food. I think food is still number one.
Yeah.
Dr. Horowitz believes that the dog's unique ability to look into our eyes and hold our gaze was one of the first steps in domestication. Now, one other thing from this article that I thought was even more interesting is further down. So eye contact is beneficial for dogs and people also.
Yeah.
So there's a study from Japan in April 2015 that reveals that when dogs stare into our eyes, the activity causes us to release oxytocin into our bloodstream. And oxytocin is a hormone that is released when mothers nurse their puppies. So maybe dogs stare at us in the same way that a mother stares at her own pups. In some ways, maintaining eye contact is its own reward. The more you stare at your dog, the more he stares at you, the better you both feel. What a great feeling.
Yeah.
What a great thing.
I agree.
Yeah.
Because that's how I feel when I stare at Mocha.
Yeah.
I just feel like, it's full of love. How he can stare at me for so long.
Yeah. So I've read like some other studies, some other articles about the similar thing where because they look at us, it releases a chemical in our brain and at their brain at the same time. And when you stare into the dog's eyes, it can actually increase the bond between you two. And so that's like sometimes what I'll do, like if I'm like just sitting in my chair and Mocha's sitting in my lap, which he likes to do, and he'll just kind of like put his head up and look at me. I can't I can't help but like just kind of stare back into his eyes. Yeah. Those like big brown eyes that he has.
Yeah, the big puppy eyes.
It's very sweet.
Yeah.
Now there are some people who also think that if you stare at a dog too much, it can be considered challenging the authority and dominance. So there are ways where like if you like stare directly at a dog when it doesn't make sense to stare at the dog, they might take that as like a challenge or something.
Really?
But that's usually more from what I understand, that's usually more going to happen if you're not already cemented as the dog's like leader, I guess.
Right. So it's someone else's dog.
Yeah, someone else's dog or like a stray dog or something, for example.
Yeah.
But I think for the most part, looking into the eyes of a dog that is like already your dog, especially in the case of Mocha,
looking into your own pet's eyes.
Into your own pet's eyes, yeah.
It's very lovely thing to do.
It's a very lovely thing to do.
It makes you happy and make the pups happy.
Exactly. Yeah. And we've been doing a lot of that lately just because we can't leave the house at all lately. So
and Mocha can't leave the house as well.
And we haven't been able to walk Mocha as much either, unfortunately. So he's spending a lot of time staring into our eyes. Yes, which is very sweet. And begging for either food or love. Yeah. But he usually gets both, so. Yes.
Very spoiled dog.
Exactly. So that's my third thing. Yuna, take us home. What's your third thing?
So my third thing is relates to both Matt and myself. It's the option to get vaccine for our first dose.
COVID vaccine.
Vaccine. Yes. I feel really lucky we have this option because I've been recently reading articles say comparing to poor countries, some of them which don't have vaccine available, and it's really sad. Yeah. And I just feel like we're lucky here in Australia has the option to have access to of the very good vaccines, which is really lucky. Yeah. Yeah. And that's I feel very grateful for that. And I really hope like all these developed country, right, the country who has stability could share the vaccine with the poorer countries.
I hope so.
Especially COVID,
That's happening to some extent, I think, in some countries.
Yeah, in some, but not all the country has the luxury to have that.
Yeah, not as much as it should be happening, for sure.
Yeah. So that's my last thing.
Yeah, and we both got our first dose as well. And no side effects, no significant side effects.
Yeah, because Matt got his first dose last week. That's why we had a 1 week break. Yeah. And luckily for both of us, like as Matt said, we don't have any like major side effect apart from sore arms.
Yeah, just a bit. Yeah.
Yeah. So for myself, it's been like almost 2 weeks, and it's all feel fine now. So I feel like we both are looking forward for our second dose in a couple of weeks' time.
For sure. Yeah. It's been a long time coming for sure. So it's good that we finally got it.
Yeah. And then we really I think both of us are really hoping one day, once we reach the 80%, we can finally see our friends and family.
The 80% of vaccinated people in New South Wales, right? Yeah. Which is what the Premier wants here. So. Yeah. Hopefully. Yeah, we'll see. I think we're in like week, this is 8 or 9, I think, of lockdown here.
Yeah. So we have been locked down for 9 weeks. Yeah. It's longer than Wuhan already.
Yeah, that's true. That it is. It's longer than Wuhan in China. That's a good point.
Yeah. So I hope we can get through this, and I believe we can.
Yeah, but at least it's good to know that we're doing our part.
Yeah. I think like most of us, like we and our friends, we're all taking the first dose, which is really good. Yeah. Yeah. I hope like we have done our parts.
Yeah. We'll get there.
We'll get there.
I'm feeling hopeful.
Yeah. That's why I put that's my third thing. I just feel really, really lucky we have the options.
For sure.
Because not everyone has the option in the other part of the world. Yeah. Yeah. Which I hope they do, but they don't. So. Yeah. Yeah. So that's my last thing. Very short and simple.
Okay, well, Yuna, it was awesome to do this again after a week off and get back to talking about joyful things. Yeah. It's definitely helping the mood, I think.
I agree. I feel like for me, it's really fun talking to you and looking into your eyes and do this show. I'm kind of missing it. It's really fun.
Okay, to be fair, 2 of those 3 things you do every day.
Yes, that's
so
true.
I hope you don't miss those necessarily.
Yeah.
But I got you. I see what you mean.
Yeah, it's fun.
Cool. Awesome. Well, thank you everyone for listening this week to Our 3 Things. And we'll be back next week with 3 more things.
Yeah.
And you can just find us on our Instagram at Our3Things, Facebook, Our3Things, and at Our3Things.com.
Yeah.
To see all the information about the show and see past episodes.
Yes. Exciting.
Anything else, Yuna?
No, I think that's it.
All right. Well, then let's sign off. But before that, we have a quick reminder.
Yes.
To please remember.
Our first thing
is you. That was very clumsy. Let's do that again. Let's do another take of that. Okay. I want all of you to remember.
Our first thing
is you. There we go. Yes. Okay, bye.
Bye.
手中要个升华，刀锋千转蜿蜒成花，生命中的他是恰碰碰出人家，春光绕过发梢红衫，刺绣灯塔，眉目刚烈那座庄稼，红人留下枕上白发，杯中酒杯。